Okay. So since this is come on, I pressed the button. Oh, there it is. Okay. So since this is a very short, only 30-minute meeting, we're going to start, and then I'll ask Scott if you can, because I'll share the screen. So if you
I'll admit people, sure.
I should get you one of those uniforms, like they have in fancy hotels, when the people who just open the door and let you in, like it's
Wear a safety vest or something, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll share the screen. So today, it's going to be a little bit more me talking just in the beginning, but no fear, there'll be interaction after that. So what I wanted to go over really quickly is feedback from the last meeting. We had a couple of weeks talking about the next steps, some ideas for improvements that came from last meeting, and then a progress status just on workforce today. It's just too much to cover. The improvement initiatives are going forward very, very well, but we couldn't fit it all in into 30 minutes. And then just kind of some notes on how all this stuff is going to hang together. So this was one of the slides from last week's meeting. Was discussed it a little bit. And the question was if people are happy with the engagement of over the past year. So it was encouraging, especially I think the last one, usefulness to utility, was somewhere between happy and very happy, and the lowest one was the level of engagement. But I would assume that people would like to get engaged more and are really busy with their day job. And so I didn't have any sort of action items, just to kind of watch this and see if we can improve the project staff support, and everybody seemed reasonably happy with the quality of the deliverables. So the next step for this month, April and May, in this month our focus is really to complete the draft final report, which is due at the end of the month. So there's a lot of work happening on improvement initiatives. Did you, Mike Barnett, want to just quickly say where we're at with this?
Sure. Yeah, we're doing really well. There are more than 10, I think, case studies that in total, and a good number of them are being finalized, probably by Monday. So at least next week. So that's going very well. The guidelines, the methodology guidelines, are also being substantially revised. And that'll be an appendix to the final report. And the models are coming together very well. There've been a number of modifications to some of the models just to make sure they comply with the guidelines that we created, which are also documented in the appendix. And those are being placed into the water sector value model repository, which Cello, Scott, and I have talked about at length over the past week or so. And that's a longer process. It probably will take us to the end of the project in June to get it done, but there are quite a number of models, and they're being reorganized within that new updated water sector value model repository.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. And like Mike mentioned, he covered 3 of these 4 things, and the water sector value model it's quite a bit of work to kind of get it consolidated and cleaned up, and there'll be new modeling guidelines. So there's a lot of work on that. I'll talk a little bit about more detail about the people topics, the maturity models, and the assessment method. So our goal is to get that at least the version 1.0 done this month, and we're on track to do that. And then in April and May, it will really be about completing the report, finalizing it, cleaning up, getting feedback from the PAC, from the committee, Project Advisory Committee, and WRF. And then also the big part of work in April and May will be to really look at change management and how it will integrate with workflow and organizational culture assessments, because we right now wanted to get those two done first and then incorporate it in change management. I'll show later how it all fits together. And we're also going to work on the work plan for the first year of WISE. And I see that Mark has his hands up. Maybe he can give us some update.
Yeah, I actually was not, I don't have an update on that one in particular, other than I'm trying to schedule a steering committee meeting for the end of this month. But I also wanted to mention that I believe I'll be drafting the executive summary for the draft report, and I've got as reviewers Charlie, Jackie, and Zonetta. So I just wanted to put a quick reminder out there for those folks to look for that after I get the draft going.
Oh, thanks, Mark. Thanks, Mark. And we will really want to develop a work in April and May, which April is like in a couple of weeks, start to prepare the work plan for the first year of the effort under WEF. They are finalizing the forms to sign up and everything, so that should start happening pretty soon. So that's it. I want to stop now and see if there are any questions before I get into further things. Okay. So last time at the meeting, we also, as we looked ahead, this was the feedback to ideas about area of importance and focus. And the most important thing that people voted, and I would very much agree, is to continue with existing topics that we have on deck right now, to go towards execution, to have actual applications and actual improvements implemented. That scored quite a bit higher than adding new topics and areas, which doesn't mean that we're not going to add anything new, but it indicates that people are working a lot on the current topics, and that would really take precedent. That scored the highest. So I just wanted to see at least of these two first topics, if anybody has any comments that they would like to offer. Okay. I don't see any hands up. So then as far as expanding engagement and adding new utilities, there will be effort to do that. And I would expect that Water Environment Federation is going to help with the marketing and with promotions when it becomes part of their program. Then the two items that are next is the user-friendly platform for content sharing and user-friendly access to the water sector value model. And we realize that this is needed. Again, this is something, I don't want to get into the history of this because we always had intended to do more there. And we realize it's very important, and we're currently in discussions with Water Environment Federation to make sure that they can help us with this as it becomes part of their overall programs. And so that's for the platform, for the content sharing. And Mike and John and Scott and I have had a lot of discussions about how to, and Mike's been doing a lot of work on how to get the water sector value model organized so people can easily find things. I want to just see if there are any comments and thoughts. I don't see any hands up. So, and the next thing that was fairly important is to enhance the collaboration in the workshops and networking. That scored very high. A number of people said it was extremely important. We're doing really everything we can, and I think the number of meetings we have thrown at you is kind of a testament to that. But you know, we're going to do as much as we can on that. I want to go to the next one, which was the ideas that we had in a sort of free format that people offered. So one of the things that was kind of prominent opportunities for networking and meetings in person. Utility management conference is coming up. I'm sorry, that's my dog. My wife just left the house, and dog's going through separation anxiety. So the to have more opportunities. Just 1 second.
Well, we can tell who the dog likes better.
That's the only thing that will take the edge off the crying. So I'll cut the sound effects. So it's really the opportunities for networking and meeting in person. So we have something scheduled for Utility Management Conference at WEFTEC. It's a little bit tentative. We've had a discussion about when to contact people to see, get some details on this. And there was a proposal that we wait another few weeks to see, and in April, throw out a question to everybody and say, are you planning to attend the conference, a utility management conference in WEFTEC, so that we can organize things properly? And we all agree that it would be really wonderful to meet in person. It's just in this situation, it's not a unique challenge to us. It's a challenge for everybody. I mentioned there were also a number of comments about enhancing the collaboration platform, access to models, case studies, artifacts, establishing a YouTube channel. So we will put a lot of effort towards there. There was a suggestion that we should have periodic progress reports. What we've been doing so far is taping these meetings and posting them, but we're going to look into this. We would need to understand who is the audience for the progress reports, whether it's people who are participating in the meeting, or it's something that people who are participating in the project want to be able to provide to their management or colleagues and to let them know. There was a proposal to establish a newsletter and to start information and promotional campaigns. So just wanted to show we're not ignoring those things. We're thinking about them, and they'll be part of the planning that we're going to have in April and May. Any questions of that before I go into the just quick report on the people column? I don't see any hands up. We may end up ahead of time. Gee, that'd be nice. Give you guys back a few minutes. So we're working on this people column, and primarily for that first step of the improvement methodology to assess the system maturity. And we can show on the right side where it fits. It's these 1 to 5 things on the people, for which is workforce, and then the organizational culture. And these are complex things. This is Kaysra Osman's from Great Lakes slide. She's been doing a lot of heavy lifting and wonderful work on this. So I borrowed her slide, or stole her slide, if you will. So we started with a workshop that solicited comments and suggestions from people. We got 200 plus on workforce and about the same on organizational culture. We had statements for maturity levels 1 and 5. There was a lot of work to consolidate these 400 items, and we first collapsed them into 45 categories. We organized them with respect to those things that we had defined, the models from Daniel Pink and Patrick Lencioni, and then collapsed it it successively collapsed it and consolidated more and more, because we wanted to have a manageable number of questions in the assessment model. So on Monday next week, from 10:30 to noon East, yes, 10:30 a.m. to noon Eastern time, we're going to be presenting the details on this in the workshop on workforce. If you don't have the link, just let me know. I'll send you. I think I actually sent the invite to everybody already. Is that right, Scott?
Yeah, if anyone feels like they were missed, let Cello know, and then he can get something out to you.
Yeah. So this is sort of, we're going down this funnel, and anybody who wants to just join and see what's happening is more than welcome to participate. And what we're going to be doing in the workshop is we put together a first draft survey that includes the main categories that we had discussed about, and also the questions that have been kind of vetted through a few cycles of review. And this is just a sample of this survey of the statements, the category, and then the statements that we would use. So in the workshop, we'll start by people actually responding to the survey. They'll get a link, they'll respond to the survey, and then we will look at the questions and get feedback on ideas for improvement. We'll make some revisions, and then we'll repeat the same exercise for the organizational culture meeting. We'll talk to Mark and see whether we want to, depending on attendance on Monday, we'll calibrate how we're going to do Thursday. So the idea is that we would have at least one of these, that we would have at least this tier 1 thing wrapped up. And when I say tier 1, is that we'll have a smaller number of questions, between 15 or 18, something like that. And then if a question, if there's a, let's say on this one, if it says my own performance measures and targets are well defined and understood, if they say strongly disagree, we were going to have a second tier of questions that we can provide more details specifically to that topic. So that's kind of how it's going to work.
Cello, we did get a comment from Pat Boyle that we have. Well, actually, those are the correct. It says dates on this slide are for May, and it's actually March. So we want to change that to 3/22 and 3/25.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Yeah, yep. Thank you, Pat. Yeah, I was ahead of my time. So to make our job easier. I just wanted to say that we're thinking about a couple of things. One is that we could use this survey, this assessment method on the sort of like organization overall. But the other thing that we could do is to make it scalable and say we could maybe start applying it specifically to one or more of business processes first. And later on, as we go into our work plans for next year for WISE, we're going to look at the scope for the technology layer, technology components. So the way this would work is that these maturity models, we're building them for people. We have the maturity model for processes and system models and everything to do these first two steps. And we could potentially assess just, look at the business process model for, developing, delivering strategy, identify who the stakeholders are, and maybe do the assessment just for the stakeholders for this process, see how it works, instead of, trying to it'll be really up to a utility. Instead of trying to do the assessment for the entire organization. And then change management will be part of these red bubbles. The design to be system safe is sort of half yellow and half red, because it has to be considered and stuff like that. And again, we're gonna look at, if we choose this way, we could also have an option to look at the technology column and assess different levels, like if we go from the right, whether we're actually collecting the data, whether we're sensing, observing the data that we need, how is it structured, is there taxonomy in place, do we have data in silos, what kind of analytics and insights we can get, and what kind of decision support we're getting. Just some initial structure that we will look at, and we'll benefit somewhat from the WRF Project 5039, which is doing exactly that, developing maturity model for technology. I'll stop at this point just to see if there are any questions. So again, we are working on these maturity models. Maturity models here we have, and maturity models here are in development. And I'm going to stop sharing, and we have a few more minutes for discussion and feedback from folks. How you guys feel about this, if you have any suggestions.
This is Scott. I don't see other hands, and certainly if you have a comment, now's a good time to speak up. But this could be pretty exciting next week, kind of with a culmination of a lot of work. It's not finished, but it's a significant milestone, and the ability for everyone to actually use a live survey and get some results, as well as give feedback on, how does this look, and any suggestions people have. So it should be good on Monday, again at 10:30 Eastern time, and on Thursday at 10:30. With the Monday being the workforce and Thursday being the organizational culture team, but everybody's invited, and we have 2 opportunities to give feedback. So this is, and we have at least an hour to accomplish this. So it should be good, and we've had a lot of success with the Mentimeter, as a tool as well. It's been maybe even better than using the Teams tool, in terms of getting feedback. So it should be fun for those that participate, putting on your own organizational hat and conducting the survey as if you're an employee for the organization, or the part of the organization that you're in. We do have a comment.
Mike Sweeney.
Yeah, I waited because I know we have 4 minutes left, but I'll keep this really brief. My personal and professional concern here is not the deliverables. They're great. It's just a matter of putting it all together and packaging. My concern is the transition still. There is emphasis on momentum, and I see that you have that in your slides, Chella. I'm not saying that's not there. And promotion. To be perfectly honest, as a subscriber, I don't think we're going to expect a whole lot of promotion from the Research Foundation. I do trust WEF to promote it. They're good at it, and that's what they do. But maybe in your survey, you pick through for promotion. You would mention newsletters and all that kind of stuff in your slides. Maybe poll the folks as to what might be best way to go in terms of not only tracking our progress through blogs or whatever. There's a lot of ways to go here. Social media, I mean, it could be what's it called? WEFCON, all that kind of stuff. And probably one person ought to be in charge of it. Not so much to maybe develop the content with your guys' help, but get it out there. And I think it's just going to be really critical to get more folks signed up to do all that, vision stuff that you want to do to keep this thing going is of a concern. So I'll leave it there.
I completely agree with you. And what I can say is that there are two things that are critical that were supposed to happen this week. They're hiring a person to do exactly what you're describing, and they have had interviews, and they expect to have somebody on board very soon. The reason why the promotion and everything, you're going to be shocked when you hear it, is because it has this what do they call it, network agreement. So the lawyers have been talking about it, and so they couldn't really go forward with this until lawyers blessed this network agreement. And Mark has his hand up. Yes, Mark.
Yeah, John, we just got something from Barry Liner at WEF this morning. So that has that. It looks like it's about to go live to join WISE with WEF. So I think we're getting really close.
Yeah, and Zonetta has her hand up.
Yes, just real quick, and I still offer this. I know we've been using the other system in real life time to do a survey, but I'll still offer that up, that I have money aside if we want to do something a little bit more extensive in terms of a survey to help guide that transition. So
that'll be wonderful, Zonetta, and I promise you I will take you up on this as soon as we can get this report done in the next couple of weeks.
I mean, it's no rush. I just want to throw that out there, that I've set it aside for us to administer it, give you the results, and have that done for you, and that's all. I just wanted to remind you, not to pressure you.
No, it's not pressure, and it's very much appreciated. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Yeah, Mike has his hand back.
Yeah, real quick. It's good news from Mark. The lawyers have been paid, it sounds like, so we can move forward. One other thing, speaking of money and getting new members and things like that, is the value proposition and all that good stuff. You guys are consultants, you know this. But right now we're in the middle of budget season. Our fiscal year is weird. It's the federal fiscal year, and people's, I know Zanetta's July 1. Everybody's all over the place. So we need to know what's in mind there so we can budget accordingly. So the sooner you know that, the better. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely in agreement. And yes, absolutely in agreement. And trust me, I'm doing everything I can.
Well, I guess I made the mistake. I don't want to rush you. I just kind of putting the laundry list together and be willing to help if I can. So.
Oh, that's actually really great to hear, because honestly, I'm working with WEF, and they are moving. And one thing to consider is that in this kind of situation with WEF, with uncertainty, and the COVID and the conferences and everything, the fact that they've put this much energy and focus and attention to this effort is kind of remarkable, and that they would take on something new in an environment of this kind of uncertainty. So I'm very much appreciative, and and I also want to, before we leave, say that there are a few people who have been doing amazing work. Kaysra Osman, unbelievable. And Parijat and Alice and a whole bunch of other people. should have made a list to say, and Sherry and Patricia and Pat, and it's been an amazing amount of collaboration and commitment. Very much appreciated.
You're right. It's astounding. I've not been involved with a research project that has this level of participation and volunteerism. It's outstanding, and the deliverable